What's going on, everyone? Badger here. Make sure to like and sub, and let's get into this. Full disclosure, I'm in a bit of a mood today. Bit of a mood because, through no fault of my own, of course, the stupidity of humans and their decision making, or lack thereof, and I hope you know who you are. It's put me here. So I have nothing else to do, and thankfully it's a slow news day, which meant Gary released this at the perfect time. Marvel admits failure. I'm all about some Schadenfreude. This is, of course, the company and the group and the people, Kevin Feige, who alienated all of the existing fans, changed everything that made it popular to begin with, the whole thing, to chase after a non-existent modern day mythical modern audience that they brought in with promises of representation and diversity. And these people who are very loud on Twitter, they don't actually spend money and they don't watch any of this shit. So let us feel the rage of Gary and certainly myself and enjoy this destruction of the company that deserves it.
I'm wildly disappointed because I love the idea of 4 women leading a superhero film. Say MSHEU all you want. I don't give a shit.
I hate MSHEU. The MSHEU slogan. I hate it.
It's a different feel compared to what the other MCU stuff.
As representing the decline of Marvel and the rise of the MSHEU.
Now, I'm sure you've heard the term MSHEU. It's being...
Gary, they need to pay you royalties because Gary from Nerdrotic invented MSHEU.
Used by some fan communities. And yes, the term is extremely offensive, but it's also becoming undeniably true.
Marvel is starting to focus on some of its stronger franchises going forward, but I'll leave it at that.
I am Marvel Jesus.
Which, by the way, I was doing that breakdown, and we all realized that he and Vanessa are broken up. She calls him Buddy. So, again,
Nerdrotic.com.
This past February 7th, The Marvels dropped on D+. That also happened to be the very same day that Bob Iger admitted that Disney Marvel failed by repeating the same thing he said about Marvel last year.
Quality needs attention to deliver quality. Doesn't happen by accident. And quantity, in our case, diluted quality. And Marvel suffered greatly from that.
Which was essentially repeating the same thing he said about Star Wars after Solo failed. # Solo lost money. Yet I never get tired.
Because we all know the reason there's ever a good movie is because Marvel suits were there on set.
Tired of hearing it. And there is no denying that the Marvels killed the MSHEU. And believe me, that's a good thing. So join me, you over 970,000 Awakening Wonders and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. And let's go over what a lot.
40%, huh? 90% of you are unsubbed to me. 40%. That's an impressive number, Gary.
A lot of people are collectively asking with Deadpool 3 right around the corner. Can the MCU be saved? The answer is obvious. Yes, and it wouldn't be that hard. But the better question is, will the MCU be saved?
They could all be saved.
Probably not. It's no doubt that the Marvel Cinematic Universe had been committing a very deliberate Mary suicide over the last few years. Captain Marvel, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, The Eternals, Doctor Strange, Mom, Thor 4, Love and Blunder.
Female Thor.
Boo this man! I'll ruin your mythos in a second.
Quantumania, She-Hulk, and every other thing on D+, just to name a few. Hell, things got so bad, adult pretender Kamal Nanjiani says he needed therapy after the bad reviews for The Eternals. So did everyone who watched it. We're coming up on 5 years since the release of Captain Marvel, and I recall a few of us back then warning you that the MSHEU would destroy Disney Marvel. There were denials and outright accusations from...
It's almost like having a bunch of forced inclusion standards ruins all creativity and just creates the same lifeless shell of a product.
The corporate access media and Disney towards the fans, calling us a small group of angry bigots. Then the Marvels came along to give the MCU that lethal dose of Canadian healthcare. Ah, the Marvels. Who could forget such good times? The most unanticipated sequel to a billion-dollar film where the titular character was demoted in her own sequel that turned out to not be a sequel to its predecessor, but an actual sequel to 3 Disney Plus shows no one watched, leading to a movie that no one watched, earning a grand total of $206 million worldwide. That's just a little bit off from Captain Marvel.
Oh, I don't know when he recorded this, but I was just looking at this. The Marvels worldwide accounted now is 199 million, so under 200 million.
1.1 billion at the box office. I believe the difference off the top of my head is $925 million. And let's not forget Bob Iger throwing the Marvel's director Nia DaCosta under the bus by saying that there wasn't enough POC supervision.
Well, the Marvels was shot during COVID. There wasn't as much supervision on the set, so to speak, where we have executives there really looking over what's being done day after day after day.
And in Disney...
He said the quiet part out loud. We hired an inexperienced director. She'd only done one other movie that didn't do that well. Yeah. Sorry, we didn't have anyone watching over our inexperienced casted director that we got to do the movie because she was a woman and black, and that hit two of our diversity things that we have to hit. Thank you, Elon Musk, for leaking that.
Marvel's infinite wisdom, they decided to release this deleted scene.
Hello?
Oh, Captain, my captain. Oh, you're not my captain.
Captain Marvel Resident Assistant, Miss Marvel speaking.
Wait, Mrs. Marvel. She got married again, and no invite again.
No!
When the fuck did Valkyrie get a British accent?
Marvel, Ms. That's, we're not married. That would be.
There's no British accent in Ragnarok.
Single.
Okay.
5 seconds to the jump point.
Oh, you might want to triple. I mean, tread in. Oh, you might want to triple. Oh, you might want to triple.
And then follow that up with Echo.
Oh, dear God.
Yes!
Talk about check boxes.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
I'll have what she's having.
And there wasn't. Oh, thanks. We have a commercial right here in the middle.
Introducing critical
Good, make your
thinking
money, buddy.
cards.
Hold
This
on.
deck of cards
Remember,
features 48
in
of the
all
most
of Echo, that writer's room did not have one deaf person on it.
But at least Disney Marvel tried to memory hole Echo as much as possible. A reminder, they did try to cancel it altogether, but with the Marvels, they put it on 4K and made a big deal about releasing it on D+. All on the same day, Bob Iger said this.
Marvel is starting to focus on some of its stronger franchises going forward, but I'll leave it at that.
What the fuck would a strong franchise be under Marvel?
One of the things that I've been saying before is that, volume sometimes can be detrimental to quality, and in our zeal to greatly increase volume, partially tied to wanting to chase more global subs for our streaming platform, some of our studios lost a little focus. So the first step that we've taken is that we've reduced volume.
Bob Iger likes to repeat himself a lot, but the new one was that focus on stronger franchises. That's as close as we'll ever get to Bob Iger admitting failure, which he just did. Now, I know what that means at face value, but what does it mean concerning...
They've admitted it several times, including that their push for agenda has significantly set them back.
Disney Marvel, what are their stronger franchises at this point?
Right.
They don't control the rights to Spider-Man. Captain America's dead. Iron Man's dead. Black Panther is dead. Thor's cucked and the Guardians are gone. And who the hell are the Avengers at this point anyway?
And if you say the X-Men or the Fantastic Four, you know they're going to fuck that up.
Marvel, Shang-Chi, cucked Thor, Doctor Strange, who's never been able to elevate past side character status, especially considering his last
They never
film.
let him.
And the Avengers might be led by Captain Black America Falcon, and we'll get to that. In 2021, thanks to the government response to the coup, Disney Marvel released 8 pieces of content, 3 films, and 5 D+ series.
All of them Kevin Feige Productions.
In 2022, they released 3 films and 3 series, not counting specials, and the same goes for 2023. In 2024, Disney Marvel's only going to release 2 D+ series. One has already come out, Echo, but it didn't make much noise. And the only film announcement for 2024 is the aforementioned Deadpool 3, which finished principal photography 3 weeks ago.
It doesn't count. This is a Fox movie. This is a Fox holdover movie. All the cameos, most of them are going to be Fox, but yeah, you're introducing him to the MCU, whatever the fuck that means. No one watched Loki. No one's going to know who the TVA are, any of this shit. They will be upset that you're separating him from Vanessa when the first 2 movies are all about it, but okay.
Oh, and we got our first look with the Super Bowl teaser, and it was all right. Listen, it's great to see Ryan Reynolds back as Deadpool, breaking that fourth wall.
Pegging isn't new for me, friendo. But it is for Disney.
But it's not going to save anything.
Is it really, though? Anyway, we got a couple of good shots of Wolverine's back, including one of Patch. The only thing that made me cringe was the inclusion of the TVA from Loki. Looks like you're going to need to do a little homework to see Deadpool and Wolverine, and that's a better title than Deadpool 3. Against my better judgment, I'm pretty confident Deadpool 3 is going to be a very successful film, and hell,
it's going to make $1 billion. I'm telling you right now. Deadpool and Wolverine will make $1 billion, but it will save jack shit. It will be everyone just coming to say goodbye to Deadpool and the X-Men and First Class and just see the cameos. That's it. It will save nothing.
Might be fun. I hope it is. But if it isn't,
Richard, we are.
But let's just say Deadpool 3 is the biggest movie of the year. It flies past $1 billion. Everyone loves it, and the Access media will cry, the MCU is saved.
Nope.
First, I'd like to thank the Access media in advance for admitting that the MCU needed to be saved, and in a way, admitting that the MSHEU killed it. Because, and I hate this, it took an act of desperation to even get Deadpool 3 going, and to make things even worse, it took an act of desperation to put Wolverine in a costume. Even within the trailer, Deadpool admits Disney Marvel needs to be saved.
Your little cinematic universe is about to change forever. I'm the Messiah.
But can Deadpool and Wolverine do the job? Will it make the show that's going to follow Deadpool and Wolverine, Agatha, whatever the hell it's called this month,
I like Captain
any
Han,
good?
but this ain't the one.
Will Deadpool and Wolverine make the Captain America sequel without Captain America that's being entirely reshot any better? Probably not. Will Deadpool and Wolverine help Daredevil Born Again, the continuation of the best thing in live action Marvel has ever done? That, along with Captain Black America Falcon, is being entirely reshot. Most of the old gang is back together, including bringing back Foggy.
But we're hearing they're not in it much. Like a few minutes of one episode, probably just the pilot.
And Karen and Bullseye. Unfortunately, this is what Bullseye looks like, and it's missing that key component from the original Netflix show, the writers. Will Deadpool and Wolverine make the Thunderbolts any better? A movie based on a relatively obscure team that only comic book fans would know about, that features exactly 0 members from the original comic book team. But it does feature Pocket Dime Store Black Widow, the Taskmaster.
No.
Male stunt double the entire time.
And Ghost. Who? You know, Ghost from The Wasp and Ant-Man.
I'm so confused.
I wasn't sure the Thunderbolts was even going to come out, and apparently neither was Florence Pugh.
It kind of feels like it still might not happen because of the amount of times that it's been paused.
Yeah. Is Deadpool and Wolverine going to make Ironheart any better, which apparently is done? Quick aside, Hollywood thought it was fine to put out this costume, but didn't give us a Wolverine costume for 20 years. Blade has been rewritten so many times I've lost count, but the good news is he won't be surrounded by 4 women fighting another woman. Now he's only going to be led around by his daughter fighting another woman in the 30s, and I'm sure they won't tackle the subject of racism. Speaking of...
And the whole plot point of that Blade movie is they're after Blade's daughter's blood to start an army of Daywalkers because they couldn't have done it with Blade. She's a girl. That's the key to everything.
Of that, Reed Richards is going to be played by Pedro Pascal, the man who called half the country a racist. Unfortunately, Deadpool and Wolverine won't fix any of the problems with the MCU in the same way Spider-Man No Way Home didn't fix any of the problems with Marvel Stage 4 or Phase 5. As a matter of fact, if Deadpool and Wolverine end up being the biggest film this year, it will make the problems worse. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 did pretty well.
They will learn all the
wrong
lessons.
Well received, and it was completely drowned out by the year of the Flopbuster. Again, the perfectly healthy MCU was murdered by the MSHEU, and it's going to be very difficult to wash out the Marvel's bloodstains from the carpet. I'll tell you what doesn't help. Disney Marvel seems determined to make the Marvels a thing on Twitter. Have a look for yourself. If you search hashtag the Marvels on Twitter, you would think it's the greatest film ever made. You tell me if you see a pattern within these posts. It's fun. There really should be a study on how the internet convinced thousands of people that the Marvels was bad. No, millions of people. And how people actually believe them. The whole thing is a lesson in how people need to come to their own conclusions and not trust anyone. Oh, so now y'all like the Marvels. Imagine if you had seen it for yourself. Imagine if people just went to watch the Marvels in the theaters instead of letting it bomb and then praising it once it was released on streaming.
Praising it?
I will never forgive y'all. I watched the Marvels this morning and absolutely loved it. I'm annoyed they released it during the strike and it had basically 0 promotion, the same excuse Disney gave. And that it's getting review bombed because it was entertaining as f***. Anyway, now I'm watching Miss Marvel because Iman Vellani is a wonder. Well, she's tougher and smarter than Kamal Nanjiani.
Nobody got a problem with Iman Vellani. She said the most sensible shit, and just based on the things she said, she could probably do a better job of making a Marvel Cinematic Universe than Kevin Feige. She at least pays attention to the goddamn comics, which as we know, they tell you it's a good thing not to know the comics, because then you can't call them on their bullshit when they butcher the story adaptations.
It makes me so happy to see so many people watching and loving the Marvels, as I've loved it from the beginning. I don't know if it was the lying people on the internet or mediocre comic book movie fatigue that kept you away, but I knew this day would come. That one comes from In My Honest Opinion Reviews.
Any man who must say, I am the king, is no true king.
Solid film. Fantastic even. They really tried to gaslight us. Hashtag the Marvels. Watching hashtag the Marvels again during cardio since it's on Disney Plus today, and it was so much fun and good. People are haters, and no one will make...
And if you can't tell, it's sort of the same group of people up here at the top left. They all sort of look the same, have the same haircuts and pronouns and rainbow flags. It's weird.
Me change my mind about this movie, LOL. Right, I've finally seen hashtag the Marvels. It's the most comic booky one in ages. I do not think it deserves all the hate it got. I really enjoyed it.
You're an idiot.
All these I should have seen it in the theaters posts that are happening right now. Stop letting Rotten Tomatoes and incels
Incels. 2024, we're still calling people incels.
tell you what movies to watch. Hashtag the Marvels. And it's not just Twitter. From Forbes, watch the Marvels on Disney Plus today, the movie that deserved better, from Paul Tassi.
How about new?
Wow, that was also genuine, grassroots, and authentic. It almost feels like a campaign, and could it be? Maybe. And I look forward to all the Access Media articles that will be written any day now stating that The Marvels is the #1 show on Disney Plus. Of course, it doesn't change the fact that the Captain...
Because they consider a view like 0.3 seconds of clicking on something.
Marvel sequel had almost $1 billion drop-off from its predecessor, lost hundreds of millions of dollars, and was the biggest flop in the history of the MCU and the MSHEU, which forced Bob Iger last week to essentially admit that Marvel, along with Disney Star Wars, had completely failed without exactly saying so. And of course he had to, because while stating that they had only lost 1.3 million subscribers on D Plus this past quarter, if you go back
and only one of our movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, was profitable, and even then not that much. I don't see the big deal.
Calendar year, the year Bob Iger came back, they've lost over 30 million subscribers.
His salary
can
doubled.
The MCU be saved? Yes. All you have to do is cancel all the crappy projects like Black Falcon, Captain America, Agatha, Ironheart, the Thunderbolts, and others. Fast forward to Secret Wars, reset everything, and start over with the Fantastic Four and recast Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, and everyone else. Will they fix the MCU? No. You'll have to forgive me if I don't think people like Bob Iger and Kevin Feige, the ones who fuck the MCU, can unfuck it, especially after the total disaster that was
And that's the ultimate point. Oh, could Star Wars be saved? It could all be saved, and it won't. As long as Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger, Kevin Feige, Dave Filoni, as long as these are the people in charge, these are the people that fucked it up. That's it. They cannot fix something because they're the reason it's ruined.
The Marvels. Remember, things were so bad, celebrity writers who hadn't even seen the movie tried to white knight for it, including Stephen King doesn't care for the Marvel movies, but says gloating over the Marvels flopping is very unpleasant, and it may be adolescent fanboy hate. I'd be careful there, Stephen King. It's those adolescent fanboys that made you famous until they passed the age of 16 and realized most of your books suck. Not to be outdone, George R. R. Martin decided to chime in. George R. R. Martin says anti-fans rule social media and dance on the graves of movies that flop, like the Marvels. It used to be fun talking about our favorite films. Yes, it used to. And by the way, George, shut up and finish wins a winner. But George is right.
Yeah, it used to be fun to talk about all of this until you let a bunch of activists come in, take it over, and kick everyone else out. Used to be real fun.
Things used to be fun. When they stopped being fun, wasn't the fans' fault. It's when the Hollywood corporate studios decided to get in bed with the corporate access media and turn their guns on you and I. It was Hollywood's biggest mistake, and when it comes to genre, it's something they might not fully recover from. When you buy into the myth of the toxic fan or the anti-fan and throw those labels out there, you don't know who you're going to unintentionally piss off. And quite frankly, it's a lot of people who are very quietly going to walk away, because there is no such thing as an anti-fan. There's only fans. There is no such thing as a modern audience. There's only the audience. And if you give them something good, they'll show up. And if you shit on them, they will dance on the graves of your flops. That's why the Marvels killing the MSHEU is a good thing, because you can't change until you hit bottom. And if Deadpool and Wolverine is good and successful, it'll just prove our point. Listen, I would love to see the terms MSHEU and woke Hollywood retired, and I hope Disney and Hollywood get around to it someday.
Nerdrotic.
Well, we know they won't, at least not for the time being, because that would mean they would have to admit fault. And they're still doubling down and making excuses. And just remember what he said about that. There is no such thing as that toxic, crazy fan. Yeah, there are assholes, but most of the time when they accuse us of toxic fandom and all that stuff, they just don't like our very valid criticism. That's why it's up to people like Henry Cavill and those good celebs to put those people in check and say, no, that's not toxicity. That's passion. And they have every right to do it, because they're the ones writing stories about it and talking about it and buying the toys and watching the TV shows and playing the games and watching the movies and reading the books. So you can all go fuck yourselves, right? Because you've alienated all of us. And this is prime Schadenfreude. I will tap dance on the graves of the MCU. Can't wait. Fuck it up more so we can make more videos on it. And then leave. That's what we're all waiting. We're waiting for you all to be fired by the stock and shareholders so that you can put in someone that just wants to make money, because the way you make money is by making good stories again. And that's what we want. So we can go back to arguing about dumb shit like what color Wolverine's costume should be and whether he should have sleeves on or not. Make sure to like and sub if you've done that. Thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. Go check out Gary's video and...
Well,